दाता, सांसों के स्वामी, ये नैया की पतवार तुमको है अर्पण। जीवन के दाता, सांसों के स्वामी, ये नैया की पतवार तुमको है अर्पण। प्राणों के प्यारे बाबा हमारे, प्राणों के प्यारे बाबा हमारे, तुझे तेरा सब कुछ समर्पण समर्पण। जीवन के दाता, सांसों के स्वामी, ये नैया की पतवार तुमको है अर्पण।
Greetings to all of you. As you can see, today we are at Brahma Kumaris Spiritual World University. Today, as you know, this is an online series whereby we visit all cultural organizations and we just have an interaction with them and discuss their journey of devotion. As you know, our program is called Samarpan, Yatra, a journey of devotion. Today we are doing episode 10 of this wonderful program, Samarpan Yatra. Today, as I've said it earlier, we are at this institution called Brahma Kumaris World Spiritual University, and we will be interacting with Siste Usha Jevan Ji, who is the head of this Durban institution. Now allow me to read the summary of the Brahma Kumaris World Spiritual University. Brahma Kumaris is a worldwide spiritual movement dedicated to personal transformation and world renewal. Founded in India in 1937, Brahma Kumaris has spread to over 110 countries to all continents and has had an extensive impact in many sectors as an international NGO. However, their real commitment is to help individuals transform their perspective of the world from material to spiritual. It supports the cultivation of a deep collective consciousness of peace and the individual dignity of each soul. The spiritual headquarters of Brahma Kumaris is in Mount Abu in India. At a national level, activities are generally coordinated by local people in alignment with the spiritual principles of Brahma Kumaris, working accordance with the laws of the land. Activities of international interest are conducted regionally from offices in London, Moscow, Nairobi, New York, and Sydney. Today I have my colleague, Miss Ntombifuthi Msibi. She will be having an interaction with Siste Usha Jevan Ji.
Thank you, Simpiwe, for your opening remarks. My name is Utomi. With me, I have Siste Usha from Brahma Kumaris World Spiritual University. If you are into spiritual and meditation and self-awareness, this conversation is for you. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we are maintaining a safe social distance. Right, before wasting any time, oh my gosh, why am I so nervous? Without wasting any time, we would like to get into this conversation, Siste Usha. What is Brahma Kumaris Spiritual University all about?
The Brahma Kumaris World Spiritual University is a spiritual organization, and the main foundation of this university is to give us a spiritual education on who we are, where we come from, how we interact with each other, what is the time telling us to do, and what is our responsibility in the physical world. And so what we do in terms of an organization is we hold various classes, and because it's an education, we actually teach different causes that helps people understand these various things. Because we see that when we change the way people understand, that helps people to make different choices. So you're not really propagating anything in terms of converting, but you're just giving people an opportunity to understand, revisit how they've been thinking about things.
Thank you. So if a person were to come to this institution to learn, what are the daily activities that they'll most likely encounter?
So what we do is that firstly, if they just want to understand meditation, then the meditation course is something you can do while you're still at home and whatever, and they just 8 sessions, 1 hour each. And having actually gone through the basis of it, and you decide, okay, let me try and practice this. So if you look at a daily activity of any individual, we have to interact with a lot of people and stuff like that. And so instead of like trying to separate my spiritual life from my physical life, what we do is that we take a little bit of time before the day begins. So we encourage people to try and wake up a little bit before the sun rises, and then you catch a little bit me time. But waking up before the sunrise is actually a very auspicious time. It's a time when the pull of the physical elements on the spiritual being is at its minimum. So it's actually a very beautiful time for you to be calm and relax. very beautiful time for you to go into yourself and explore the realms of your inner world, which is really the foundation of the organization's teachings. And then after that, we actually have a window of about 60 minutes where we have spiritual study. And for anyone who's starting on the path, we feel that before you reach out into your day, fill the spirit with good, powerful information that is positive, that's feeding the spirit. So that just like how you have your breakfast before you go to work, if you feed the soul with good, nourishing, powerful thoughts, and then you reach out into your world, then you can deal with things at a much different level. So basically, your day is not different from anybody else's, but there's a little element which we're adding to your day, which is really feeding the spirit. We do things for the human. We say we are human beings, but we do a lot of things for the human. But what do we do for the spirit, which is the being? And then having got that consciousness for that period of time, you spend with introversion, meditation, study, then you can use those things as you deal with your day. So you're just equipping yourself.
And for when you've signed up and you have participated in this intrinsic healing process, how long and what has been the feedback from participants that have been part of this journey?
I think it really depends on individuals. I can tell you a quick story, and it's related to how quickly when somebody has a realization or awareness that you can change your behavior completely. So the story comes from Stephen Covey's 7 Habits. And in there he describes where a gentleman comes into a compartment, a train compartment, which is really full, and he walks in there with his 3 children. And because it's so full, he gets one seat, and his children are separated and sitting in different parts of the compartment. But the children are somewhat agitated, and they are interfering with the other passengers. And on the other hand, the father just falls off to sleep. And so as a fellow passenger, you look at the father and think he's responsible, but he's sleeping. And now we are having to deal with the children who are being restless. And so then they decide, no, it's just right that the father, he's accountable for his kids. So they wake him up. And when they ask him, in a very indirect way, about his kids, he just says to them, it's been such a long 72 hours. We've been in hospital, and my wife was very ill, but actually she didn't survive. She passed away. So now you've got that information. Just a few minutes ago, you were very irritated and frustrated that he's not being responsible. But now you've got this new information. How do you feel?
I feel pity for him.
Right. And for the kids that are being badly behaved,
I understand.
you understand. So what changed your understanding? A bit of information, a bit of knowing, a bit of insight. So in the Brahma Kumaris, we try our level best to educate people to get this insight into life. I feel we're all on the same side. There's no victim and no perpetrator. If you look at any parent that doesn't know how to manage his or her own child, go to his life and see when he was a child, what his parents went through and what his parents went through. So in a way, we're all carrying a legacy of people who were either injured, hurt, not treated well, and we are having people to parent children who perhaps were never parented themselves. So who are you going to blame? So the one thing that we can do very responsibly is not to look at what's going wrong and not try and make somebody else change. But the Brahma Kumaris motto is that when I change, my world changes. So our study is very much directed to helping the individual find some direction to make a difference in their own life. Let me deal. If I'm getting angry, I can blame somebody else made me angry. But that's not true. Nobody can make you angry. You use that situation to make yourself upset. So how can I control my own anger? How can I learn to be light and easy, not so emotionally strong all the time? These are things I have control over. Fear. Fear is
Brahma Kumaris, you build the capacity of understanding and being tolerant. With what has been happening in our country, with the unrest and also the pandemic that affected the world, how has all these factors affected your work?
In fact, I think when people became more in lockdown mode and they became more isolated, they don't have the distractions to go out partying and sightseeing, and they have to deal with themselves. That's when people have turned to meditation more. Because what's happening is that, in a way, people don't like to be quiet because they don't like what's happening inside of their minds. But this pandemic and the unrest, all of these things have forced us to stay more indoors. Yeah? So we can't have the normal distractions. So then people have realized we need to address the issues that's happening. You know, one thing I was told is that normally family members, they just avoid each other. But during lockdown, they have to live with each other. So they began to talk more, communicate more. And that's changed family relationships. So in the same way, in this lockdown period, when I'm quiet, I'm also conversing with myself more. And that can only improve my relationship with myself, build self-respect. And so people are using these tools to cope.
Yes. So is it possible that you can give us small tools or tips on how us at home and our viewers watching, that they can implement quietly in their home, privately, like small meditation?
Yeah, you can, I'll give you an example, right? If we think about ourselves, we say we are human beings, right?
Yeah.
So we take care of this human all the time. So one little tip is, how can I take care of my being, the very invisible part of me? So we put physical things to make ourselves beautiful. But if every day I remind myself that, beyond this body is actually a beautiful living energy, that's me, that's the spirit, and it's a peaceful spirit.
Yeah.
It's a loving spirit, it's a happy spirit. And if every day I just affirm to myself that actually I am a living being that is peaceful, I am a living being that is happy. And as I remind myself of this, what's going to happen is that that's how I'm going to start operating. I'm going to behave like how I am referring myself as. Yeah. And so what happens if identity is confused, then that's the way we behave. But if we re-invoke the identity that I'm not only the body, but I'm the living spirit that is peaceful and happy, then I'll start generating that vibration. So I think to our listeners and our viewers, your thought and your attitude about yourself will change everything. So don't put yourself down. Don't be negative towards yourself. Just like how you will treat a child and be patient and caring, do that with your own mind. If there's too many thoughts in your mind, then take a little bit time out and check and see what's troubling you. Maybe write a note and ask, why are you feeling this way? At least listen to your own inner world. Yeah. And then you'll understand that if there's fear coming, what's making me afraid? So this is like a practical thing. You do like a self-analysis.
Yes.
Ask yourself, how do you feel? If you get a response, and say, but why do you feel like this? And you get a response, and then what can we do about it? And in a way, you're actually talking to yourself.
Yeah.
And that talking to yourself is the first step to connecting with the inner spirit. We love to speak to other people because we want to be heard.
Yeah.
But we need to listen to ourselves. So that's one exercise. And then the other exercise, like I said, is that not only be aware of your body, but be aware that you're this living being. Like, we have this beautiful image of the star.
Yeah.
That's actually the form of the soul. That we are a living energy that lives inside of this body. So now and then just visualize yourself that I'm not really just this huge body, but I'm a tiny star that is so light it can actually fly in the sky. And I'm free, I'm peaceful, I'm relaxed. And just take your thoughts away from here and be light, and you'll see the lightness that comes.
Wow.
In fact, I'm just thinking as we're sitting, let me just do a small little exercise, right? Okay.
I love that.
So I'm going to invite our viewers really just to focus your attention on the light. And instead of you having to do that, you can just rest your eyes and a point in front of you.
In front of me.
And just become completely still and that I am not this body, but the living light that sits inside of this body. I am a peaceful being of light energy. As light, I have never been created, and I will never be destroyed. I am eternal. Feel the peace of my own eternal state. Become still.
Thank you. Wow. I am relaxed, and I'm sure everyone is. My next question to you, sister, would be, what is the future for your organization in South Africa?
I feel that it's not about promoting an organization. The work of the Brahma Kumaris is really, it comes like a need. Like for example, if you think about why do we have a medical system? Because we want people to be healthy. And if everyone's healthy, there's no need to have a medical system.
Yeah.
So I feel the task, and I would love that time to come when we don't need an organization, because we're all living like peaceful people. So that's the aim of our organization, so that we all live like peaceful, happy people. We don't need to be taught it anymore. We are in full awareness that we are not just these bodies, but we are living lights, and that we all generate this loving energy and just be who we are meant to be.
Yes.
So I would say that's what it is.
Let's be who we are meant to be.
Yes.
I think.
And a lovely slogan, I am enough. I don't need to be more,
Yeah.
but let me realize what I am.
Yes. And with realizing who you are, and it's Women's Month, and we are women, what is your message to women out there watching this?
Definitely spirituality is a very deep connection with women. But what is nice about it is because the qualities that women normally portray are that of peace and love and of being gentle and being kind. And so I want to tell the women, your strength is not in trying to get done and do things, but your strength is in being that very peaceful, loving, constant individual. And that strength can make a lot of things change. There's power in stability.
Yes. Thank you so much. For our final question, Sister Usha, is there anything you'd like to add?
All I can say to individuals is that don't wait for anyone else to change for you to make your life better. Be the change and see what is it that everything that you need is already inside of you. So start by changing the way you're feeling, and you can change the way you feel by changing the way you think. And so choose how to think in a positive and beautiful way, in an elevated way. Think in a respectful way for yourself and others, and you'll definitely feel better. And how you feel means you'll act in a different way, and life definitely will change.
Thank you so much, Sister Usha, for your time. Now I would like to hand back to Simpiwe.
Thank you, Ntombi, for this wonderful interaction that you had with Siste Usha Jevan. The interactions, I was just glued and listening in each and every word that was coming from her mouth. It was a blessing to be in this place today. This was our 10th episode of the program Samarpan Yatra. Today we visited Brahma Kumari World Spiritual University. To Usha Ji and Tombi Ji, thank you once again. To Director of Swami Vivekananda Cataract Center, Dr. Chaitanya Prakash Yogi, Mr. Sairesh, our camera guy, would like to say thank you for making sure this program runs smooth this evening. To all our online participants, we would like to say thank you very much for taking part on this wonderful Samarpan Yatra 10th episode. You are kindly advised to visit ICCR Durban Facebook page for all cultural activities that is organized by Swami Vivekananda Cultural Center in Durban. Once again to Usha Ji, Danyavat Mem, Tombi Ji, Jabonga Kulisis. To all of you, have a wonderful evening. Namaskar.